Do you have trouble aiming? Does it feel like no matter what you do, you aren't getting any better? Well, in this video, you will learn how to control the recoil of any gun in Call of Duty in a simple practice routine that will have you aiming and moving like a pro in no time. Welcome back to another video, guys. My name's Trekkin' Tyler if you're new here, and on this channel, I'm dedicated to getting you better at your favorite game. In today's video, guys, I'm going to show you some drills that you can do to help improve your recoil, aim, and work on all of the movements that we talked about in the previous video to get you shooting and moving like a Call of Duty pro in no time. Alright guys, I've just hopped into a private match here so that I can show you guys the drill that I do to help myself get better at recoil control. I do this with no attachments on the gun so that I know how the gun is going to work without the attachments, and then I also do this as I apply a new class with the new attachments and so that I know how that's working and I can adjust myself to that. I do this with pretty much every gun that I play with, and it helps me really know what the recoil control I need for every single weapon. Recoil control on each weapon, guys, is going to be different. So if you're playing with an M4 versus a Kilo versus an M13, they're all going to have different recoils, so you need to train your fingers to be able to adjust with that. If you're on the computer, you need to train your hand to be able to adjust with the mouse. So the first thing we want to do is find that recoil pattern for our gun. So the recoil pattern is going to be how the gun reacts to the recoil as we're shooting the gun. So for example, for the M4, we stand a little bit back from the wall, over to the right, and it's going to do that always. Same thing every time. So what I can do is now I can sit here and I can say, okay, well, if I'm shooting, then I want to pull down, and then I'll come here and I'll say, okay, 1, 2, okay, in about 2 seconds of shooting, I need to start pulling down and to the left as well as just straight down. So if I just pull straight down and I keep it there, you'll see the gun does this weird kind of shape where it started coming up, and then you'll notice that the recoil for the down is less in this section. That's why the gun started coming down. So I need to actually ease up on the left. So if I just focus on getting that down recoil right first, go a little bit, and you can see that that's a pretty good grouping, right? But I'm also really close to the wall, so this little movement from where I was shooting to here at distance is going to be pretty large. So I want to make sure now I can focus on that right movement, right? So now if I come here, boom. So now you can see that that grouping is way tighter than that, and that's how you're going to fix your recoil and control that recoil a lot better. So this is with no attachments. As you add attachments and whatnot, it becomes a lot easier to control that recoil. Just remember, find your recoil pattern, figure out how it works throughout the timing of your shooting, and then just start practicing single pieces of it. So be like, okay, how do I control the vertical recoil? And then how do you control the horizontal recoil? And then how can you do both? And if you do that, you'll see your groupings go from spread out really large to really honed in the middle, and you'll be hitting a lot more shots. Couple that with your attachments, and you'll be a laser. Okay, guys, now that we know how to handle our recoil and we know how to control that and some drills that we can do to focus on just handling the recoil, now I'm going to show you guys a drill that you can do to help work on that recoil control and all of the movement stuff we went over in the last video. If you haven't seen that, link up above, such as slide canceling, bunny hopping, and centering all at the same time in an actual game scenario. And basically all we're going to be doing is we're going to be shooting a lot of bots. At the end of the day, it just comes down to repetition, repetition, repetition. Did I say repetition? Getting that muscle memory in your hands to be able to snap onto your targets and get your shots down range and control the recoil of your different guns is really what's going to get you better at gunfights and get you better at your movement and make all that stuff come a lot more naturally. So I'm just going to show you guys the routine that I do. I'll tell you how often I do it and whatnot, and the settings that I'm using to actually get the game going, and all that. So let's get into that. So we're just going to jump into a custom match, and the first thing I want to talk about here is the map. I try to choose a map that's not super big, where I'm not going to be getting into a lot of engagements, but I also want to choose a map that's not too small, something like Shipment that's way too small, and I'm probably just going to be getting shot in the back a lot. So personally, I choose something like Hackney Yard or Shoot House is another good one. Shoot House has some good lanes and also some really close quarters, so you can sort of pick and choose the way that you want to play and what you're sort of working on. If you're working on things that are really close and close quarter combat, or if you're working on things in more medium range. You're not really going to be doing any like long range things. If you're trying to do like the 500-meter snipes and stuff, you're not going to get that in any of this stuff. But all of this micro training and close quarters and whatnot, and recoil control and aiming and all that stuff should help you with those longer range shots in the long run. So I would choose something like Hackney Yard or Shoot House. Those are just my two favorite maps. The next thing is the mode. I keep it on free for all. That way, all the bots are targets. I don't have to worry about having half the bots not. It also allows me to have more bots in the lobby that I can fight versus the other game modes where it's team based. The next thing, game rules. I like to keep unlimited time, unlimited score and everything, so I can just go as long as I want. It allows me to figure out, okay, do I want to go for a number of kills? So maybe I'll stop after I get 250 kills, or I'll go for 30 minutes and see how many kills and whatnot that I can get. It kind of just depends on what I'm feeling at that time of the day, whenever I want to do it. But by default, I just keep it unlimited, and I turn the match start timer and I skip the info. I make those just as short as possible, just so the game starts faster and I don't have to go through all that stuff in the beginning. On the team side of things, I disable the kill cam so that I don't have to keep skipping it, as well as there's some speculation as it might if you have the kill cams on, it delays how fast the bots will actually respawn back into the game because they're stuck in the kill cam. So if you turn the kill cam off, you don't have to worry about the bots getting delayed, and you'll get more targets that you can hit, and you'll be able to run through those things a lot faster. The last thing, I prefer to keep the minimap off. Or rather, I prefer to keep the enemies off of the minimap, so I don't let the weapon pings show up on the map or on the compass, and I don't show the enemy on the compass, so if they're shooting their gun or something like that, or if I don't have UAV, whatnot. So I turn all that stuff off so that I don't know where the enemy is, because if I know where the enemy is, I'm going to start pre-aiming corners and stuff. I'm not going to be really working on my movement to get around the corner and get the shots on. So I feel that by not being able to know where everybody is, it really helps me hone in on getting that snap down and getting that accuracy and everything really working instead of being able to know where things are and pre-aiming or whatnot. So it just helps me get the most out of my actual training. And the last thing here is just a couple gameplay stuff. So spawn with all the mags you can. This way you don't have to worry about running out of ammo. And I like to spawn with, and I do kill streaks turned off. That way you don't have to worry about UAVs or like one of the other guys getting a cluster strike or something and they're just kind of throwing you off. Basically what we really want to be honing in on, guys, is just repetition. Getting as many bots down as we can, getting as many kills, just really honing in and just trying to chain our kills together, keeping a rhythm going, and just really working on that accuracy, snapping, working on those slide cancels, that bunny hopping, just work on everything. And just the more repetition and whatnot we can get in, the better you're going to get. Last thing here is the bot setup. This I like to keep on 11, which is the max number of bots. And I put it on recruit, which is the lowest difficulty. It just basically there's just a bunch of targets that I can shoot at. I might eventually die, but can get pretty close to like getting nukes and stuff really quickly, just because there's just basically just targets. If you find that this is too easy, you can always increase the difficulty. If you find that it's too hard, you can always decrease the number of bots. This is kind of up to you guys. Figure out what works for you. Let me know what you guys like to do in the comments. Alright guys, I hope you learned something from this. I hope you guys take this routine, you really work at it, and you get better at Call of Duty. If you guys learned something from these videos and I'm really helping you guys, let me know down in the comments, leave a like, remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next video.